Are you still arguing with your watch or that training plan or whatever about how long your longest run should be? Is it 20 miles? Is it 22? Is it some mythical distance that your mate swears by from some blog they read in 1999? Well, by the end of this, you are going to have 3 peak week long runs and a dead simple rule for how long the longest one should be so that you can arrive on that start line feeling amazing, not destroyed. And that is your grand payoff from watching this video. But first, I'm Nick Hancock, founder of Maximum Mileage Coaching. I'm a USCA ultra running coach. I'm UK athletics licensed, and I am a sub 250 marathoner and a competitive ultra runner. I'm also a husband, dad to 2 lively boys, 43 years old, and I run a business while my wife, Alison, continues treatment for stage 4 breast cancer. So I live in the real world of trade-offs. Early on, I chased monster long runs, big massive weeks, and I spent, the following week shuffling and missing sessions. Lesson learnt. In this video, I am going to show you 3 specific long runs for your peak weeks, how you can fuel them, where they should sit in your week, and the simple rule to choose and cap your longest run. So, first of all, the fast finish progression. This is where you teach your legs and your head to close out the distance. The short science behind this is specificity wins. Finishing at marathon pace when you're already a bit depleted nudges your running economy and fatigue resistance, or durability as we call it, in a way that just going out and doing a bunch of miles never will. So do it like this. Total distance of the run, 20 to 22 miles, 30 to 35k, or cap by time if needed. I'll come on to that in a bit more in a bit. The first 6 to 8 miles, or 10 to 13k-ish, easy, zone 2, as you've probably heard all the influencers say. You should feel like you're holding back. You could chat, you could talk. Those middle 6 to 8 miles, just bring it up a bit to what I call steady. Still comfortable, upper zone 2. You're not going all out. Final 6 to 8 miles, marathon pace, or marathon pace plus 5 to 10 seconds if it's a bit warm or hilly or windy. Fuel. You want to be taking on board the recommended amount of 60 to 90 grams of carbohydrates per hour from mixed sources. Glucose, fructose works best when the gut is trained. I have done a gut training video, so make sure you check that out. Hydrating roughly with 400 to 800 mils an hour and 500 milligrams of sodium per hour, based on your own personalization. Shoes, if your calves or Achilles tolerate them, then use your race shoes in the final block. This is an ideal time to be, rehearsing the feel, breaking the shoe in. We don't really need to do that these days. The foams are a lot better than they were in yesteryear, but you do still need to get some miles in those shoes. And this is a great time to be trying them. It's in those peak weeks. Now, let's just review that run a little bit. So the first 6 to 8 miles, nice and easy. You should feel conversational, like you could chat, no problem. A little bit similar to what I'm doing now, maybe with a little bit of, having to get your breath a little bit, but that's it. Middle 6 to 8 miles, steady, but still comfortable. Upper zone 2. And then the final 6 to 8 miles, you're going into marathon pace or adjust it if it's hot or windy. Now, can you spot where this could go wrong? That's right. It's turning that middle chunk into something a bit harder than what I've described, because you just don't really have anywhere to go after that. For that last 6 to 8 miles, if you push the middle up a bit too high, you are going to fade in that final 6 to 8 miles. So don't be tempted to go, oh, well, I'm feeling a bit good. Off we go. Let's bump it up to marathon pace, because you ain't going to hold that final 6 to 8 miles, 10 to 13k at marathon pace. You're just not. Now, where should you place this? It really depends on your week, but a little example for you would be keep Saturday easy. This run you would do on Sunday, and then Monday easy, or off completely, which is actually my preference. So easy, hard, easy rhythm. Okay, keep watching, because this next run lets you collect even more marathon pace minutes without redlining, which is brilliant when life stress is high, because training is stressful, life is stressful. You put it all together, then you are going to blow up, you're going to get injured, you're going to get ill, which is quite common at this late stage of your marathon training. Now, this run is called Alternations, and this is where you can stack race pace minutes without blowing up. The short science is that alternating marathon pace with easy floats lets you accumulate lots of specific minutes while keeping lactate manageable. Interval structures consistently outperform steady threshold alone for building that capacity with less stress. So this is a good one. So you could pick one from this menu. Option A, you could do something like, which is a classic that I give, half mile on, half mile float. You warm up for 2 to 3 miles, then you do 10 to 16 miles at half a mile at marathon pace, and then half a mile at easy pace, and you do that until you need to cool down for another 2 or 3 miles. Option B, you could do 2 kilometers on, 1 kilometer float, so a slightly longer amount at marathon pace and a slightly shorter amount at easy pace. Again, warm up, cool down either side, and then the final one, option C, and this is a big one. It's a tough session, but a cracker. It's a pyramid where we do a few kilometers at easy pace to warm up, and then we do 6K, 1K off. So the floats are all 1K, so 6K, 5K, 4K, 3K, 2K, and 1K, and then you do a cool down. And if you can, do the 2K and the 1K slightly faster than marathon pace, somewhere in between marathon and half marathon pace. If you can do that session, then you are onto a winner. I tend to program that as kind of one of the final. This is like proper peak week marathon pace practice. It is a big session. You need to fuel it well. You need to recover well. You even could do with giving yourself a little bit of a mini carb load the day before. Again, watch my gut training video because I go into that in a bit more detail. Next, we are going to go from short bites to bigger chunks so that your brain, there's that neuromuscular connection between what your mind wants you to do and what your body can do. So these are segmented marathon pace blocks, bigger chunks. And the science behind these is that the extended periods right at marathon pace, they give you that pacing skill, that psychological edge, knowing, going into race day, knowing that you can do those paces. You've held them in training without being tapered. So for this kind of session, here's one example. You could warm up for 3-4 miles, 5 to 6K, nice and easy. You could even chuck in a few strides at this point. And then your main set, you could do 3 by 5K at marathon pace with 1 to 2K easy in between those blocks. You could even go up to 8K. Cool down, 1 to 2 miles. Again, practice your fueling, and the distance on this usually lands out at around 20 to 22 miles, 32 to 35K, depending on the block sizes. And it is another big one. I tend to try and err on the lower end of the distance for these. If I've already used that 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 alternation session that I've mentioned, I will tend to bring the length of those reps down, because that's quite a lot in the block. Finally, on the segmented run, there's a little bit of an advanced variation that you can do, and that is quite simply run that final block of 5 to 8K around about 5 seconds per mile faster, or 3 seconds per kilometer, only if the earlier blocks felt smooth, conditions are good. Do this kind of run on a flat loop or gently rolling routes. net downhills, fake confidence, so avoid them. And again, practice where where you're going to be doing your fueling. So can you see the pattern across these 3 long runs? We are collecting big marathon pace minutes whilst you're protecting recovery. The art is arriving at that Tuesday workout that you've got planned next week, still with that pop in your legs. And in a moment, I am going to show you exactly how you can rotate these across your last 6 weeks and answer the "how long is my longest long run" question with a rule that you won't forget. So logistics that make or break those peak long runs. Fueling, hydration, and recovery practices are as trainable as pace, and they move the needle more than you think. That little checklist for you. Fueling. We want to be ideally somewhere around 60 to 90 grams of carbohydrate per hour. And you want to be building that up over several weeks. Like, you don't want to be doing this a couple of weeks before race day or just on race day. You need to do those dress rehearsals. They matter. Hydration. Work out what your hydration is. I'll do a video on that. 400 to 800 mils per hour is a ballpark. Hot days you might need more. You need to aim to avoid more than 2% body mass. Sodium, you might want to be starting to think about 500 milligrams per hour. Heavy, salty sweaters, you might need more, particularly if it's warm. And you need to understand how your gut will tolerate fluids. I would always recommend these kind of runs, particularly in your peak weeks, to be practicing with exactly the kit that you are going to be wearing on race day, like down to the T. That means what top are you going to wear? What shorts are you going to wear? What pants are you going to wear? What Vaseline or body glide are you going to wear? What socks are you going to wear? Are you going to wear any lubrication under the socks? What shoes are you going to wear? Big chance and opportunity to practice with those carbons, right? Absolutely perfect. So make sure that you are practicing exactly these runs. Great opportunity for exactly what you're going to be wearing on race day. Don't forget other things around your long runs. There's other stuff that matters. Strength, 2 sessions per week, 30, 40 minutes maximum. It is not optional. Certainly not in my books. It is absolutely key. Injury risk goes down. Durability goes up. Again, there's a video coming up on that. Make sure you're doing that stuff. A weekly rhythm for you is ideally take a Monday off. It's the busiest day of the week, right? It's the day that we all have emails to take care of. Just keep your mind on work, get that done, and then it sets you up for a better week. So on top of your Mondays off, here's a little bit of a weekly rhythm that you could get into. First of all, never stack 2 truly hard days back to back. So if Tuesday is intervals, take Wednesday as easy. Thursday, also easy, perhaps a little bit longer. Use Friday for a little bit of a shorter quantity of quality work. And then Saturday easy, Sunday long run. And if that long run is potentially going to be, if you're doing it by distance and that then bleeds into, if you're a plus 5 hour marathoner, if you're out there doing 20 to 22 miles, 32 to 35K, then that's probably going to be a little bit too much time out there. So go by time rather than distance. For most marathoners, that peak long run is going to be roughly around 2.5 to 3.5, maybe 4 hours, depending on the person in total. So quick little puzzle for you. Which is more productive 2 weeks out? A 24 miler that absolutely trashes you, or a 16 miler with 2 by 6K at marathon pace that you are going to recover from overnight? It's obvious, right? The latter every time. Right, let's deliver this grand payoff for you. Stitch it into a plan that you can apply into your training moving forward. So a quick pit stop whilst you sip some water. If you want this dialed into your life, then inquire at maximummileagecoaching.com. Book a call with me or one of my team. I've got some fantastic coaches. Hannah, Faye, Rachel and Matt are going to be coming on board too. We've got some great coaches in our business, and we will build your long runs around your real world week. And for fueling the work, my 2 books, The Ultimate Cookbooks for Runners, they're both on Amazon. Simple recipes that make hitting your carb and protein goals a lot easier. As I said, I'm a family man and I spent 20 years working in restaurants, and these recipes are designed not just to help you with your training, but the family can eat them too. So exactly how long the longest run should be and how to rotate the 3. The decision rule for marathoners: your long run is probably going to top out somewhere around 20 to 22 miles, 32 to 35k. If that distance would push you into silly time on feet territory, cap it by time rather than distance. My global ceiling across all of my athletes is 22 miles or 5 hours, whichever comes first. In a marathon build, you probably won't see 5 hours. That limit mainly lives in ultramarathon land. For most marathoners, your peak long run is going to sit somewhere between 2.5, maybe up to 4 hours. Why this rule? Well, there's no credible evidence that 24 to 26 mile training runs outperform a well-structured 20 to 22 mile long run. What is repeatedly linked to better performance is consistent weekly volume, specific minutes near race pace, and not destroying yourself late in the cycle. Arrive durable, not heroically broken. It is always better to be slightly underdone than totally overcooked. How to rotate the 3 runs across these final 6 weeks. Here's a little bit of a skeleton that you can tweak around your life and what you've got going on. So week minus 6 rather, or minus 5 if your cycle is slightly shorter. Do those alternations. Choose half a mile on, half a mile off, or 2k on, 1k float. Aim for 15 to 20 miles in total. The purpose of that is going to be high marathon pace minutes with controlled stress. Following week, segmented marathon pace blocks. You're then gradually increasing that progressive overload. You could do something like 3 by 5 to 8 kilometers at marathon pace over a total of 18 to 22 miles. Week 4, try that fast finish progression. It is a belter. It really helps you come race day to say to yourself, I've been here before. So 10k or 6 miles in each block. Start off easy, go into steady, don't overcook it, because you need to finish strong at marathon pace for the final few miles. 3rd week out, this is your big week. That 6, 5, 4, 3, 2k, 1k run. That is a cracker as a final one 3 weeks out. The following week, you could then drop it down to something like 14 to 16 miles with maybe 2 blocks or 1 block of 8 miles in the middle. And then last week out, just something to keep things ticking over. 10 miles, probably most, nice and relaxed. Chuck in a few marathon pace, small blocks of half a mile here or there just to stay in touch, and you are golden. So some common pitfalls to dodge: overcooking the floats. If the float period creeps into that steady, later on those reps at marathon pace are going to crumble. Treating gels as a race day novelty, don't do that. You need to be practicing with them 3, 6, even 8 weeks out. Chasing distance heroics in the final month. Trade distance for quality and recovery. Particularly in that last couple of weeks. Stacking hard days. If Sunday is a big marathon pace, do Tuesday is your next quality, not Monday. New shoes or socks on peak long runs. You need to test them on shorter days first. Otherwise, you might find that you go out for one of these big long runs and you get 10 miles away from home and you start getting a whopping great blister. Don't do that. Practice. Build up your mileage a little bit first. Do a couple of speed work sessions in them. That's a great way to just see how they are, that sock and shoe combo. So there you go. Lots of information there. If you want this shaped into your exact life, then drop me a line, maximummileagecoaching.com, and book a call with either one of me or one of my team, Hannah or Faye, my athlete services team, And if you need help fueling, don't forget about my cookbooks. It's going to help you massively, and it's so key to fuel your training. Keep the momentum going. Watch marathon durability video, which I've done. Make sure you watch that next so that your interval structure in the build makes race pace feel like cruise control, not crisis management. We'll cover how to program your intervals that feed directly into these long runs. We'll touch on strength work as well. I'll give you the exact sets, progressions, rest ratios that build that fatigue resistance, that durability without knackering you out. So if you want to make miles 20 to 26, that last 10K of the marathon, feel like you've already rehearsed it over and over, then that video is for you. I'll see you there.